Fresh production.
What is going on, everybody? This is Coach Coleman, Jesse Coleman, and you're checking into another episode of Breakthrough Blueprint, the podcast, where we help you tap into your full potential. This week, I have a young lady that we've been Facebook friends for a while, and I've been seeing her journey and seeing a lot of the amazing things she's been doing. And I was like, you know what? I need to just reach out to her and say, hey, are you available? Would you like to, jump on the podcast? And of course, without, any doubt, she said yes. So I'm very grateful for that. Just a few things about her. So, Staci Garcia. So she is a co-founder of an amazing community called Core Ops, where helping a lot of people as far as your operations goes, real estate, and things like that. So I'm definitely going to link information about this in the description on YouTube, and if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, you can check more into that. And then another thing that I'm excited about, because I am one of these as well, is a KW Next Gen coach. And what that is KW Next Gen is a non for profit organization that we have where we put on training, education for young adults. And the young adults between the ages of 18 to 28, they are able to qualify for 3 free months of business coaching. And Stacy's one of those coaches that get to partner up with the young adults and help them put together a blueprint for their business. And not even that, but just their life, just to, give them a head start of what's going on. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Staci Garcia. Stacy, how are you?
I'm peachy. How are you, Jesse?
I am doing good. Weather's finally getting good here in Chicago, so I definitely can't complain.
I know you're not too far from me. I'm in Indiana, so I'm very thankful that it's turning heads over here.
Yeah, so we pretty much share that crazy weather. So that's good to get somebody to feel my pain, because a lot of times I talk to people and they're in Florida or California and they're like, well, I don't know nothing about that. So I'm like, oh well, thanks a lot, right?
I mean, listen, we can have all four seasons in 24 hours.
Yeah.
We're just a bipolar state over here, and you're not too far from us.
Yeah, it was one day, it was about 80 degrees, and then it started raining. Then next thing you know, it was snowing. And I'm like, this is just crazy. Like I wasn't ready for all that in one day, right?
I know. I mean, I don't know how to dress my kids. I just kind of send them out the door and hope for the best. Let's pack a sweatshirt and some sweatpants. If you get cold, if you get hot, take it off. Like, I don't even know what we're doing. The teachers probably think I'm crazy, but they're fine.
I mean, they got to understand, like, listen, that's the nature of the beast of where we live at, and things are just going to be all over the place, all right?
Absolutely.
All right, so let's get into it. So, Stacey, talk to me a little bit about, because you're a coach, right? And I'm always fascinated, talking to other coaches, like, what was that start to make you want to be one of those people that help other people reach their goals?
Yeah, so I've been in the real estate industry for 10 years now. I've had a coach for the entire time. And I will tell you, my coach wasn't just my business coach, she was my life coach. She was in it with me through a divorce, through multiple miscarriages, through my weight loss journey, the multiple things that I have done throughout my life, trainings. I ran a triathlon. Like, she has done so many things to empower me that if I can make a full 180 shift in my life by having somebody in my corner that is one, unbiased. So she's looking at the world as, okay, Stacey, what do you want? And here's how we're going to achieve it. But she also didn't like make me give excuses. If I showed up to it and I had an excuse, she's like, put it in the trash can before you show up. Don't want to
Mm.
hear it. And so that just empowered me that if I can make that complete shift in my life, I wanted to be able to help somebody else do that too. And I know you were talking about next gen, and that has been the most rewarding journey of being able to shape these young lives who are just starting out in the world. They're just fresh babies, and it's exciting to kind of help them out.
And I always tell people that, because a lot of people for some reason think that with you being a coach that you may not have a coach, and I'm like, no. everybody has a coach. I'm like, if you look at the most successful individuals in any industry, they have a coach. LeBron James, he has multiple coaches. Jordan, he had multiple coaches. It's just like you need somebody to have that helicopter view for you while you're in the weeds, you're in the bushes. You have to have the people of one, like you said, going to call you out on things. They're going to check you, like, no,
Mm.
you're not doing that, and helping you move forward to through the journeys of your life, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Because what are we doing? We're always looking for the shiny object. Like something comes in front of me and I may lose track of my goal of, okay, I'm gonna fast track my way through becoming a life coach. I'm gonna push my way through it. And she's like, no, Staci, you have to slow it down to speed it up. That saying that we all hate to hear, but it is the truth. It's you have to be able to work towards your goals and have somebody in your corner that's going to keep putting them in front of your face when you see that shiny object, when you see that thing that you may want to veer to the left a little bit. She is my business coach, my life coach. I have a therapist. You just have to have those people in your world to help continue keeping you grounded. Otherwise I would float away. I would.
I'm glad you brought that up because that's one of the big things that we talk about on the podcast is making sure you stay grounded. And as we know, what can go wrong will go wrong. And that's just the way the world is that BS happens. So for you all that's listening, if you've noticed this trend that we put out there is that what are you going to do? What is those contingency plans that you're going to have in place to keep you grounded? What does your circle look like? Who is the people surrounding you that's going to make sure that you're able to get through those hard times? Because again, hard times are going to show up, right?
Absolutely. And it is putting those people in your corner. And just because and a lot of people may agree, may disagree with me on this, but just because I'd go out and have a drink with you, have dinner, does not mean I'd always want you sitting at my table rooting for me. You can be in my world on the perimeter of it, but the core group of people that I'm going to have in are my non-negotiable humans. They are somebody that I can go to and say, hey, can you tell me if I'm overreacting here? Like, can you tell me if I am thinking too deep on this? And shoot it to me straight where I know it's coming from a place of love and a place of growth because they want to see me succeed just as much as I want to see them succeed. Because you
I'm
are
glad,
a center of the 5 people you hang out with the most.
yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up because for me, for a long time, I struggled with that. And I know a lot of people struggle with that. They feel like, okay, this certain group of people or these individuals that I hang out with, they have to be in my inner circle or nothing at all. And listen, I know, like you said, you can keep them on that perimeter. That doesn't mean you're completely cutting them off. But when it comes to certain things in your life, certain stuff that you're dealing with, you have that board of advisors. You have that group that's who you lean on because it's just that connection you have with them.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'm a single mom. I have 2 kids. Not a whole lot of my friends are one, divorced, or 2 have kids the age of mine, 7 and 10. Either they're younger or they're just starting to have kids and starting to get out in their world. And I'm an overachiever. I started very soon. So I like to surround myself with people who are going to also level up my children. My daughter, she's 10, she's smarter than me, and I would love to be her when I grow up because she will come home and she will say, like, if there's a situation on the playground, she goes, Mom, they must have just been having a bad day. And for her to be able to recognize that, or she'll say, hey, I asked them and made sure that they had a sandwich for lunch today because they didn't have anything on their plate. But I went and sat with my other friends. Is that okay? I'm like, you checked on them? You made sure they were okay? But because they may not have been like a student that we totally wanted our, daughter to hang
Yeah.
out with or whatever. But she still checked on them and made sure that they were okay and taken care of, but they weren't in her center core group of people. And that's why I love, and I'm like, 99% of America can't even do that. And we're grown adults and a 10-year-old can.
Yeah. And a big struggle for a lot of adults is with that too is a lot of times those are family members, people that's very close to them and they have that struggle. And I'm like, listen, your sanity, your peace, the trajectory you're going, if it is not in line with them, you don't have to completely cut them off, and you have to limit that exposure to them because, like you just said, you are the sum of the five people you're around. That
Mhm.
without you even knowing, you're just starting to go into that world of their thinking. If they're always negative, you try to fight it for so long. Now you're turning into a negative person, and
Yes,
you really have to
yes.
stay on top of that. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the hardest things too is you have people in your world who may constantly think negative. They don't look at, the world as a bright, beautiful place, and it can bring you down. It can suck the joy out of you where you can become that negative Nancy. And some of my life coaches that are life clients that I have, I love to just see and hear their perspective on the world of I just had one the other day. She goes, somebody sent me a text message and I put it in Chat GPT because I wanted an unbiased reaction to it and how I should respond. I'm like, listen, you're speaking my love language because I am an AI fanatic. So if you can get a computer generated service to tell you, how do I respond to this? Because I want to respond to this in a respectable manner because it was full of negativity. Like to me, that just shows her growth of her leveling up and thinking, okay, I'm not going to instantly respond. I'm going to think about it, look for help, and then respond.
Yeah, and that's one of so again, Breakthrough Blueprint comes from a workshop that I put together, and one of the parts of the workshop is, and I got it from Jocko. It is called detach, prioritize, and execute, and it's along the lines of those things because I know what my downfalls were, where I'm a 0 to 100 person. Like you say something, something happened. There's no in between for me. I'm popping right off. So I'm like, okay, you can't do that all the time. So it was one of those detach. Okay, how long do I need to give myself to detach from the situation? Now let me prioritize and were the things that made me mad, do they still make me mad? Were I thinking from logic or emotions? And then I can move on to execute. So it's along the same lines of, what you just said. And again, for you all that's listening and watching, that's a big thing for me is for you all to have tangible items that you can take away from listening to implement into what it is that you're doing throughout your journey. So that's I'm noticing something, and it's funny that we are a lot of alike with a lot of things. Of like we had our fitness. I just noticed that with your fitness journey, I was on the
Mhm.
same way. Having even though I have an oldest daughter, but I also have a youngest daughter who's 8, and she checks me on stuff like, no, that's not what you're supposed to do. And I'm like, okay,
Right.
well, excuse me. So, what's your fitness journey? Because I know how that was for me, where I lost a little bit over 100 pounds, right? And I did that twice. I was on that roller coaster, and I know what my mindset was of why I decided to make that lifestyle journey because I don't never call it a diet is a lifestyle transition. What was that for you? Making that transition for you.
Yeah, well, I can get real deep here. My coach is trying to tell me to get more out there, and so here we go. Buckle up. So when my ex-husband and I, we lost a baby at 18 weeks. And so at that point, I kind of went into postpartum depression. I used to weigh over 300 pounds, and it was a journey where I found all of my sorrows and comfort and everything just in food in front of my face. It wasn't that I wasn't active. I was just in mourning, and I was in mourning for a long period of time. Then I turned around and had my son not shortly after that. And so I just never fully got out of that slump. Postpartum depression is a huge thing in women, and it's stuff that we don't always recognize, and it can come in different forms. So I, had my son, got divorced, and my coach really helped me learn to love myself. My coach, along with my therapist. And I was still finding out that I was blaming myself for things that had happened in my childhood that were out of my control. Things that happened by losing a baby, my divorce, like things that were out of my physical control. I was still blaming myself for it. And I was not loving myself enough to look myself in the mirror and say, you are a beautiful, you are a kind, you are a smart, you are an intelligent human being, and really grow. So I was on this journey of one, losing weight. I lost over 200 pounds. Um, it is not easy, is it, Jesse?
No,
It is
no,
hard.
it's definitely not.
Hard. But listen, I would like to say that I dieted, but I didn't. I do it for the fries. So I still work out on a consistent basis. I'm a Pilates instructor. I go to Pilates on a constant basis. I lift weights, strength training. So I like to push myself in that manner. But again, I work out for the fries. I still like favorite food group.
Yeah.
But I was just on this journey of one, loving myself, feeling more confident, feeling more comfortable. I had to start saying no to things that didn't move my life forward. My coach told me that if anything got in my way, once I was clear on my values and my direction, everything else was an easy no. So if something got in my way from going to the gym, if something got in my way from that wasn't, kid related or something like that, my excuses had to go out the door. It was a clear yes, show up for me, because I grew up in a world where I only had me. I had a single mom, I had the childhood traumas and everything that can go along that lines, but I had to show up for me, because at the end of the day, it was just going to be me. And what do I want to portray to my kids? I wanted to be a happy, healthy, running and playing soccer and doing volleyball and getting back to just feeling good about life. But it boils down to loving yourself. And how much do you truly love yourself and portray yourself to be what you want in your values, in your culture, and it will overflow. So it took me about a year and a half to really lose a good portion of the weight. Now we're just in, obviously the maintaining stage, which sometimes I think is just harder than the actual weight loss.
Yeah, it is.
It is harder. But it just makes you look at life with such a brighter picture, and just you just have a breath of fresh air walking out. So weight loss journey, I think it's a weight journey. It will always continue. But if you continue to love yourself and work hard, everything else is easy.
And to that point of, realizing to love yourself. And that's the first part to anything that we do, is that self-realization and look in the mirror and checking ourselves. Because a lot of times we will blame ourselves for things, for one, like you said, or we will let ourselves off the hook with a lot of things. So it's like we're either on one end of the spectrum, and it's just taking account for yourself, looking in the mirror. Okay, this is where I'm currently at. This is what's going on, and then now the next part is moving forward and making that change.
Yeah, we are a huge affirmation family. I started after my divorce, and my kids now every morning they will tell me 3 affirmations before they leave my car to go into school. And if they don't say them with such energy and excitement, then we repeat them. And my kids will say, like Presley will go, I am beautiful. And we do like the bold in KW, like, yes, you are. And like we repeat it for her, because I want my daughter, who is 10, to have that where she feels like she is beautiful, she is bold, she is loving, she is kind, she's a great friend. And it's like, yes, you are, baby. You absolutely are. And the same with my son. His is a little more like, I am Hulk, I am Superman. And it's like, baby, you can be whatever the heck you want to be. I got you. So we, back in those stages of trying to learn to love myself, it was having those core group of people in my corner that I could say, hey guys, I'm really struggling with the way I look today, or I'm really struggling at the gym today. I don't think I could do the extra 30 minutes to hit 600 calories burned. There were a lot of goals that I set for myself, that I had the accountability partners. I had my coach, I had my therapist. And then the affirmations, I got up every morning, I journaled, I put my affirmations on my mirror. And the affirmations were even on my phone screensaver, because it was like my vision board. I am not going to let a day go by where this does not go out of my sight as a constant reminder, because we're busy people, we're working, we have families, we have friends, somebody always needs something, but you need yourself. And so if you can put the one thing that's in your hand so many times during the day, a screensaver, then it's going to stay top of mind to you more often than you think.
It's so funny because I joke about this when I teach classes and we talk about affirmations. And I was like, I used to think that was the dumbest thing ever in the world. I'm like, what is this affirmation stuff? And until I started doing affirmations and I started journaling. And then at one point, one year, and I always talk to people about this, everything that I journaled, everything I, said for affirmations, that following year, I accomplished every single thing. And then I'm like, okay, I need to dig deeper into this. And then you know this, you're a coach, you teach, and we know that our subconscious mind doesn't know what's real or what's fake. And negative things and just negative energy is so easy to penetrate and get into our mind that we hold on to that. So the affirmations was like, okay, this is you combating that. This is you putting up that barrier. This is you being on offense and defense of blocking those negative thoughts. And then you're setting yourself up for success because this is what you're keeping in front of you. This is, like you said, you have it on your screensaver, you have it on your mirror. You're keeping these things in front of you that your subconscious mind is going to hold on to that, and now you're going to you're going to live into those things that you're saying.
Yeah. And we say it like it's so easy. And I'm a very real person. I will shoot you straight. I do not sugarcoat. It is not easy.
Oh no.
It is not easy to shut out every negative thing that happens in this world. There's always something happening. You turn on the news, there's something. You listen to your kids about school, there's something. But it is taking those things and being able to shift your mind to say, okay, this happened. What am I going to do with it? So not sitting there and soaking in the frustration and the complete, like I have some coaching clients that will show up, and one of them is a dear friend of mine. So it can get a little confusing at times. And I say to her, I said, okay, how would you like me to show up today? Would you like me to come as your friend, as your coach, or as a realist? How would we like to have a conversation? And I put it in her corner. So that way, when it comes down to it, if I have to be bluntly real with her, or does she want me to help her self-discover? Or does she want me to coddle her through it? Like, how would you like me to show up to you today? But it's loving the journey that follows along with it. So just like the weight loss journey, like I am big on outcomes are great. We love a goal. We want a goal to reach. But it's the journey that you should really fall in love with, because that's who you're going to figure out who you are along the way, what works, what doesn't work, that helps those core values and that integrity fall into line. It is all about the journey. And if you fail, get back up again, because I fail every single day. I failed this morning. I yelled at my kids. It's okay. Apologize. Moved on.
Yeah, it's that saying of fall in love with the process and not the outcome. And for me on a personal level, it's so true because you fall in love with the process, and what we keep talking about, what can go wrong will go wrong. When something go wrong, you're already have that foundation because you went through the process. That is like, okay, this happened, bounce back. I already know what to do. I'm okay with doing it. But if you're just so attached to the outcome, and I don't believe in luck yet. Sometimes if some come up, just so happen you win, but you're not, in love with the process of winning, and then something happens. Now you just get dejected and you just don't even want to do anything because now you've lost everything. So it's falling in love with the process and moving forward.
Yeah, you're essentially writing a playbook for your life. So director of operations is my total love language. But essentially you're writing a system and a playbook that if the system breaks, it's okay because you're learning. You're learning what worked and how to break through that to grow that system to push it even further. So something happens, okay, it happened. It is not the end of the world. Not a whole lot of things in our lives are complete fires. Same in real estate. Every real estate agent thinks everything's a fire. And I'm over here in the operations world like, it is not, I promise you. It is not. It's not a fire. But it's how you can take and internalize and analyze logically. But it's like, logic and emotion can have best decisions, best practices. It takes a little bit of both, but there has got to be a whole lot of just really good understanding of, okay, if I need to take a minute and absorb this so I don't pop off,
Mm-hmm.
if I need to take a minute and sit back and count to 5, if I need to call my friend real fast and tell her exactly how I'm feeling, then be like, okay, I'm better. It's fine. I'm fine. You work through it.
Yeah.
That helps me. I mean, my friend has heard all of the things. And then I just say, I'm good.
So with that, let's transition to that. So for you, Staci, what is your contingency plan? What is your go-to things that when I curse on here, so I'll just say when shit goes wrong, right? What is your contingency plan to, like you said, keep you grounded and to keep you focused on, okay, it happened, I got to keep moving forward.
I move. I get up and move. And I know that's a big Tony. I learned it from Tony Robbins way back then. But I have a couple of different things. So if I'm able to, something happens in the real estate world and personal life, I get up and move my position. So I will get up and take a quick walk, take a fresh air, go talk to somebody. But I will say the one thing that gets me out of every single funk that I'm in is gratitude. I will call somebody. I will write a note. I get on Facebook and I will write 5 comments to 5 different people that I see in my feed. And I give myself a time, right? Like I'm going to do this by 5 minutes. I'm going to write to 5 people that I'm grateful for them, because you're instantly taking the pressure off of you and what you're going through in that moment. And you're expressing gratitude for something good. So you've taken a negative that's happened and you've pushed it into a positive. You can come back to that issue and be like, oh, this isn't as bad as I thought it was, because your mind has now shifted to a lighter world. Yeah. That is by far gratitude, 100%. And sometimes I call my mom and I'm like, Mom, I'm super thankful for you helping me get the kids to school today. I've been running around like a madman. I would not be able to do this without you. And then my mom's like, oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. Because that person really wants to hear that gratitude.
Yeah.
Lightens the mood.
Yeah. It's funny because what you're saying that I just got this gratitude journal, and it's just something about saying gratitude, giving gratitude to people, writing it. It just does something to our body where like we can feel that energy starts flowing through. And the same thing when something goes wrong, I'll give gratitude, I'll speak it or I'll write it, and I just start feeling a lot better. And to your point, like you said, like, hey, you know what? It really is not that bad. Like that situation is not bad. There's worse things that could happen. And you just look at the positive and everything. And that's something I've been working on over the past year of, okay, stuff go wrong. First, like you said, be in gratitude, be grateful. And then it's like, it could be a lot worse than what's currently going on right now. I just got to move forward.
Right. There is a best case in every worst case.
Yeah.
And when you think of it that way and you think of a worst case scenario, a deal fell through. Okay. Best case is we get to go out there and maybe we can find a better deal, higher price. There's always a, I'd say, silver lining, but it's much more than that. There's a best case in every worst case. And if you can just train your brain to think, okay, this happened, but it wasn't this, so we're going to have an opportunity to do this. Everything's an opportunity to improve, opportunity to move forward, opportunity to learn. Everything has an opportunity. And I love that. Like that gratitude journal, I got it for my daughter for Christmas, and she writes in it. And she just, every time she'll go to spend the night, she says, did I pack my gratitude journal? Because it's just training their young minds to just, I mean, we mold them. We mold who they are. Instead of, I'd rather me mold them or, my core people than the world around that's full of negative and, that kind of atmosphere. But it is best case and every worst case. You just got to find it. It's there. I promise.
And to that point, what you're saying that I shared this on another episode with somebody, another mom, and you are leading by example, right? Because you are living in that, you are doing these things, and our kids, when they get to those ages, like your kids are, and my youngest, is that they do as we do, not as we say. So we can say something But if they see us doing something, they're going to emulate that. So she see you doing that. You do your affirmations before you drop them off at school. She's going to absorb that. And like you said, she want to make sure she has a journal. She's journaling and she's doing that. So, kudos to you for leading by example and not just saying these things, but you're actually living it. And like you said, that's molding them to be, who they should be. Because, yeah, it is crazy out here. Like, it's so much negative that's so easy to absorb. Like, negative things are right there for as soon as you open your phone, it's just negative stuff.
Yes. It is.
So,
It is. It's everywhere you search. And it's, coming from a single mom, their father is very present in their lives. And he's actually one of my best friends and we have a great relationship. But when they're with me, I am the father and the mother as a single mom. So I want to absolutely make sure that they have a foundation that my daughter knows, okay, mommy doesn't I am very particular of who I let into my world just because of my kids, right? Like I'm very cautious. And so I want her to know later down the line, okay, I want to date a man that has these things, or I want to portray this. And I want my son to be able to say, okay, my mom did affirmations. She prayed every morning. She journaled. She was active. She was, very forthcoming with us as kids. Like I want him to be able to look at that and find that in a human. And so if I can do the best that I possibly can, and I fail every single day. Like I said, I yelled at them this morning. I was so tired of telling them to brush their teeth. I was like, listen, if y'all don't brush your teeth are going to fall out and I'm not taking you to the dentist and you're going to have gum mouth. Like that's literally what came out of my mouth. And I'm like, listen, let's be a realist here. Mom hat off, realist hat on. You're going to lose your teeth. You guys don't get in there and brush your teeth with how much candy you eat. But I have my faults. I have my things. I do the best I can and I do what I do for them because I want them to look at the world as a bright, beautiful place as opposed to the dim, dark. And if they can bring that light in, then so be it. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah, I love that for the fact of that's part of the big why thing of the big why is. And this is me sharing mine of when people are like, what's your big why? And you're a coach, you're a trainer, people give big whys and they're like, oh, my kids, my family. And it's like, no, it has to be deeper than that. And for me, my big why is, yes, it's my kids. But to your point, what you just said, it's me behaving a certain way. It's me doing certain things so they can see that. And now they hold on to that. And that's who they start becoming. Or that's who my daughters are looking for when they turn 80 and can start dating of, a guy like that. Right. So it's just like, it's just but that's a part of the big why. And with you being a single mom, you wear a lot of hats. How do you balance that work? Well, let me reframe that because balance is balance. We know that. How do you counterbalance personal life and your work life?
Well, again, it goes back to my values. If it doesn't align with my values, then it's an instant no. And my values are my kids. My values are what moves my business forward. My values are what allows me to have integrity at the end of the day. So what is really important to me are what I consider my non-negotiables. Working out is incredibly important to me. Never missing a kid's game is incredibly important to me. Business is important. My coaching clients are more important than my real estate business. Like, yes, I sell real estate. I enjoy doing that. If my coaching client needs me in the middle of the night, it's setting up expectations of saying, okay, I have my kids from this time to this time. If I don't get you back between these hours, then here's the time that I will respond to you. It's just like we have conversations with real estate clients and setting up that expectation, but it is a counterbalance. Some days I am running around like a chicken with my head cut off and I am downtown doing Pilates and then I'm running to pick them up from school. They go on showings with me. My kids know more about real estate than a huge portion of the real estate agents out there. Let me tell you this, Jesse, real fast. Funny story. I had an offer or a house that was on the market. We got 22 offers. We're going to end up with $100,000 over list price here in little old Noblesville, Indiana. And an agent called me on the phone and he kept saying exclusion clause. And I was looking over and I was not interrupting him. We have 2 ears, one mouth, listen twice as much as we talk. And I was letting him get his spiel out for his client. And then my daughter, who is 10, looks over and I see her whisper to me, it's an escalation clause. And I'm like, okay. Like she knows, like my kids know more about real estate than a good portion of the real estate agents out there. They can open every lockbox you can think of. But it's, it is setting up. I do not take a client in real estate that I do not feel comfortable allowing my kids to be in their presence, because there's a chance that they have to go with me. And I will turn down every date, every concert, every event, anything that does not align with my kids' schedule. Like they don't fit into mine. I fit into theirs. So they're my number one priority. They go to Pilates with me. They just sit in the back. They got their little iPads. They do their things. They know mom's doing her stuff. Like if I can do my stuff and still be present, like they may go to Pilates with me, but we're getting ice cream afterwards. It's a win-win for both of us. I just sold that house. So now we can go to Great Wolf Lodge. Like coach me, kids, to be excited. Like, mom, did you sell a house today? I didn't. Okay, well then how are we going to go to Great Wolf Lodge? I'm like, okay, let me get out there and let me sell a house.
Yeah.
And so it is a counterbalance. And there's some days that I lay my head down at night and I have to say all of the gratitude for the beautiful things that happened that day, because I'm tired and I'm overwhelmed and the day is exhausting. But I just wake up the next day and have an opportunity to start fresh.
I want to touch on two things you said. So one of the things is that I'm hearing from this story, and it's very big because a lot of people that's listening, we talk about this. Does your standards align with your goal, right? Where your goal is to show up a certain way for your kids, right? And your standards align with that. Hey, if this concert, if this date, if any of these things is not in line with the goals of me being best person for my kids or being there for them, I am not dealing with it. So again, for you all that's listening, remember we talk about that. What is your goal? If your goal is to lose a certain type of weight, is your standards going to McDonald's or eating BS? No, your standards have to align with your goal, and that makes things a lot easier.
It does. Right? Try to.
Yeah. It's nothing's easy, and it makes it a little bit more easier, right? And then the second part of that is you are exposing them to your world where it makes it more easier for when you have to do things away from them, right? Mm-hmm. Perfect example, and I'm tying in to me because I'm noticing we have a lot in common where my daughter, when I went to teach before, she went with me. So she knows what I'm doing. So when there's times where I have to leave and I have to travel, she's like, okay, Dad, I'm going to talk to people. I know what he's doing. Or she'll see a KW sign and like, oh, that's your workplace. So it's like you are exposing them to that. So when there's a situation where mom do have to, do a little work, or they do have to come with you, they understand what it is because they are immersed in that world. And you're not keeping them on the outside.
Right. And it's even, my kids are so involved. I pay them a salary and they wear shirts that say my mom's a real estate agent, like, and it's tie-dye. They got to pick it. Like there's certain things that we do that you can lay those little nuggets in people's heads, but nobody's going to be a raving fan more than your children.
Yeah.
And so my kids will be in the grocery store and Phoenix will tell everybody, oh, my mommy's a real estate agent. My mommy can sell your house. My mommy can be your coach. Like he says all of those things. And I love it because it makes me feel excited. I mean, my journey has been, I started out as an admin, became director of operations, ended as a CEO on a large producing team in Indy before I ventured into coaching full time. And now I sell real estate on the side for family, friends, anybody who, comes into my world. But coaching is really just that hardcore value for me that high school, I did the drugs, I did the alcohol, I did, the venturing around in life. I was just, I had issues, and that was my outlet to where I am now as a faith-based. I love the mindset KW has, or that has instilled, that I've been able to instill in my kids, and just the whole 180, and going back to like that coaching and therapist, and you have to have somebody in your corner that is going to tell you real life, but also keep you on track, because you're not going to keep yourself on track at points. You're going to drive by that McDonald's and be like, man, that large fry sounds so good right now. And you're going to be like, okay, I need to text my coach and say, should I get this large fry? Can I adjust my calories somewhere else? And then they're going to shoot you straight. Did you want to fit into that dress by the month from now? What would happen in your world if you could not fit into that dress in a month from now?
How would you all the right questions?
Try that on. Exactly.
That is key. And I don't think a lot of people realize how important that is to have the people in your corner that's going to call you out on the bullshit. Because, and I see this with a lot of people on the outside looking in, or, like being in certain environments where it's like, oh, no, you don't need people to just tell you what you want to hear. You need people that's going to, understand where you're coming from, respect, what you're saying, respect what you're doing, and gonna say, okay, I totally respect that, but let me give you a different point of view of that, just to provide you with some more information. And then depending on that relationship you have with the people, it's just can be straight up like, no, don't do that. Like, I have people that be like, that's stupid. Why would you even do that? I can't believe you're even thinking about that. And I need that, because for me, I need my accountability on a 10. Like, when I ask people on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a nanny, 10 being a drill sergeant, how can I hold you accountable?
Yeah, I say 9.5. Don't make me cry.
Yeah. And I tell people, for me, I need a 10. Like, I need you. I give people permission. You can curse at me. You can do that, because that's the only way I'm going to stay on track.
Okay, I'm going to write that down and keep that note. So, Jesse, when I see you doing something, I'm going to call you up.
Listen, you can send me a text like, what the hell are you doing? Like, that is not, your goal is here. You're standing, you're acting down here. Like, you're supposed to be up here.
Exactly.
Get it together.
Exactly. It's huge like that.
Yeah, and that's what people need, is people that's going to be real with them, because too often people have those yes men, yes women, and it handicaps them so much that they don't, for one, they're blaming everybody else. They're not looking in the mirror to realize, like, hey, you are where you are because of you. It's not anybody else.
Exactly. And, I don't know about you, but what I have learned in coaching is you coach the people who have traits of yourself. So my clients have either gone through something similar that I have gone through, or they have the self-doubt that I had back then. So it's like, you've been put in this place you've done it, you wrote the playbook on it. Here's how you can help somebody overcome it. But everybody's different, right? So you have to help them self-discover what works for them. I have clients that I say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how direct can I be with you? And I can only be a 2. And that's okay, because that's how they respond. So how would you like to respond to me pushing you past your limits?
Yeah.
Then they answer. It's all about questions. It's all about finding out what works. And it's like, if everyone can show up to a conversation with curiosity, because everybody's been somewhere, everybody has a story, everybody has an outline that has framed them to who they are. So get intrigued on how that person became who they are. That person yelling and that drive-through, what happened in their day and in their life that led them to that moment where they exploded?
Yeah.
Who didn't say they were grateful for them, or who didn't reach out and just say, hey, y'all right today? Like, there's there's always a story to it and a line to follow. So it's coming from that curiosity and generally just being so intrigued in the human nature and in the world and what's happening. It can just, I feel like, we could solve a lot that way.
No, I love that you said that because the episode before last week, I talked about that of how we let outside things dictate our energy and our mood. And the example I gave is where if you're driving to a showing or you're driving to the office, somebody cuts you off, and now your whole day is just thrown off because somebody cut you off. Yet we don't know. Like some people are assholes and they're just driving crazy to drive crazy. Or is this person rushing to the hospital because the school just called because their kid failed and they're in the hospital? Or
Exactly.
or
Exactly.
did something happen and to like you said, not being coming from curiosity for one, just living in gratitude, like, okay, this person cut me off, but they didn't crash into me. I'm still here. I'm still able to make it to where I want to get to. I don't care. So it's just going to coming from curiosity, like you said, of just taking a bigger look of the picture of the situation, and then just not letting stuff bother you. I mean, that was me. Like somebody cut me off, oh, I'm going off. Somebody says the wrong thing, I'm going off, and I'm like, it's no way to live. Like it's life is beautiful. Like I'm here, got my kids. I'm doing getting to do some amazing things. Like I'm getting to do podcasts. Like life is good. Why am I letting little things throw me off? And like you said earlier, it's a lot of things are not emergencies. Like it's things could be worse.
Yep. Yep. And there, there's always those things that happen that, make life seem questionable or make that moment seem way more frustrating than it needs to be.
Yeah.
But it's going back to training your brain to not soak in it, but to elevate from it. And so when you're in that moment and you're like, I cannot sit here. I cannot soak on this anymore because it is just going to absorb me. And I know what it's going to do. And I'm very self-aware. But instead you're going to think, okay, this happened. What am I going to do with it? What's my solution? Or how can I handle my emotions with this right now? Do you need to go scream in a pillow? Okay, go understand that you need to scream in a pillow. You need to call your mom and cry? Call your mom and cry, but understand that that's what you need in that moment because nobody else in your world deserves to have you lash out at them because you just had something bad that happened.
Thank you for saying that because a lot of people struggle. They struggle with that. One part is people do not allow themselves to feel those emotions. And a lot of people like, oh, I have to be this, I have to be that. And I'll just be honest. And again, I'm always transparent on the podcast of being a black male from the South Side of Chicago. Like you always have to be strong, no matter what. You have to strong. And you have to be strong, and you have to keep doing what you're supposed to do. And it was just up until probably 2, 3 years, maybe a little bit longer, that I realized, like, no, it's okay to feel defeated. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel let down because you're supposed to embrace all these emotions, and it's better to get it out than keep all of it in.
Mhm.
So just go through the process, deal with it, and the struggle that I like to preach, and I'm pretty sure you can relate to this, is that we just can't stay in that place. Like we just can't stay in the defeat and that feel that emotions, deal with it, and then we just move forward.
Yep. And that's where a coach, a therapist, somebody who can help you jump, because sometimes we can't bring ourselves out of it. We need that person in our corner to help us get out of it. We can't do this world alone. It is boring. It is tiring. It is lonely. Don't do it alone. There are people here in your corner to help you through
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So we are coming up on time, and I know you have a busy day. You are doing the damn thing. You're rocking and rolling. One thing I always ask for my guests to do before we wrap it up is if there's one piece of advice that you could share to the listeners, what would that be?
Oh gosh. If I just had to pick one, well, let's go along the themes of let's go something easy, something they can start today. And that is affirmations. Tell something to yourself about yourself of something that you either have and you believe or that you want to believe. Like just start. Just start. Just do the damn thing. Just start today. Give yourself 3 affirmations, post them on a post-it note on your mirror, put them on your phone screensaver. Just tell somebody to remind you of them every single day. Get yourself an accountability partner, but just start somewhere. If you're feeling it, if you're feeling life knocking you down, just give yourself some good old affirmations and just start. It takes 66 days to create a habit.
Yes. I love that. Thank you so much. So again, your note for today is start affirmations. Tell yourself something good, share it with people, write it down, put it everywhere you can see it. So again, Staci, thank you so much for joining us today on this week's episode of Breakthrough Blueprint. I really appreciate it, and I am grateful for you, sharing your story and giving some good nuggets for people to listen to.
Yeah, this was good. Thanks for having me, Jesse.
My pleasure. And as always, everybody, thank you for joining us for another episode of Breakthrough Blueprint, the podcast where we help you tap into your full potential. And I'll see you next week. Peace.